Hello and welcome to Lunchtime Discourse on Vanguard Life. I am Precious Chukudi, and today we have a very interesting personality who will be giving us some brief history about his type of person and what he does. And he is none other than Chuma Anagbado. He's a co-founder, managing partner, Aziza Design. He is a versatile, innovative, and multi-talented, human being. And he grew up all over Nigeria, traveling with a civil engineer father and homemaker artist mother. Good afternoon, Chuma. How are you doing?
Good afternoon.
I'm sort of
I'm
caught up
smiling.
with saying Chuka and Chuma, but it's fine.
It's names are very similar, so
Yeah, I think I
anyways.
think it's rare to find people who have like Chuma, you know, Chuma as their
No,
name.
it's not rare. It's
Are
not
you
rare. Very
serious?
common.
Okay.
It's rare. It's rare.
Well, for
I
me, I'll
think
tell you
it's
like
rare.
you're like the first Chuma I'm seeing then that has that name
Wow. No, there are lot. There are, no. There are lots of us. I think Chuma is more common than Chuka. Yeah.
All right. So since we're speaking about Chuma, tell us who Chuma Anagbado is.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm an artist and
All
a
right.
designer. Pretty much similar. I'm an entrepreneur, but I would more or less refer to myself as someone that always tries to make things better, someone that tries to develop solutions, someone that tries to just get their hands dirty and build something for myself. Yeah, so I'm an entrepreneur as well. Um, yeah, I'm an early adopter of technologies. I'm a tech savvy person, and yeah, I'm an artist. As you can see, I have pretty much everything you're seeing behind me is my work. So yeah, I I I straddle a lot of worlds. So yes, this is me, Chuma, and I'm here talking to you.
All right. Going through your profile, I mean, I saw that this started from a very tender age, and that you've been doing a lot of hands-on like activities. Tell us about how it did start.
I would say I've always been like this. I've always been inquisitive and exhibited certain creative abilities from birth. Something I say I pretty much inherited from my parents. My dad being the engineer and my mom being the artist. So when you combine that, you'd get a designer naturally. Yeah, so from early days in primary school, I used to hang around anywhere I see art. There's this particular day that I was lost. I think I was in primary two or three. I was lost, and my mom came to find me hanging on the window, peeping through a glass window into an artist studio. That was the art teacher in the school at that time. And yeah, that was how I got in and was introduced to the man. And he told me, "Stop hanging on the window. You can always come into my studio." And yeah, I started seeing things like hand cut cards and colorful stuff. And I think that intrigued me, and the journey has always remained that way. I always find myself getting through back um, into creative endeavor and arts generally. So it's remained like that. I ended up studying fine and applied arts in University of Benin, majored in sculpture, and as well did a master's degree in the UK, University for the Creative Arts, which is yeah, I think arguably the largest creative arts university in Europe. And I did design there, which is multidisciplinary, and I run a design firm in Nigeria and a couple of other design or creative concerns. So yes, that's my journey in a nutshell.
All right. What kind of artist can we classify you as, and what tools do you use to create your kind of art?
Everything for me is art. Really,
Okay.
everything for me is art. It's just about reusing expression. But if you want to keep it traditional, my work is a hybrid. So I start out drawing on paper and then end up coloring digitally, right? I'm also a sculptor, so I do lots of metal work and I use found objects. Like I could just put up a bicycle on the wall or just get a pot or pan and then use that to create something. Generally, for me, art is just about creating beautiful expressions and reusing and using just about anything I find. But yes, if I specialize in sculpture, but I practice as an illustrator, and I draw by hand and then paint digitally. Yeah.
All right, are there people who you look up to, like role models in the art world or something?
Oh, lots of them. So I don't usually. My world strides from art to design to technology, and I
Okay.
have role models across both. Right? And for me, there's a fusion between all of them. I see all of them as the same, right? Because all of these started from self-expression and then it starts spreading out. We are also moving into a world where creativity and art is becoming the value upon which frameworks and systems are run and built on. And this kind of places the artist as the creator of that value, something very similar to gold. So yes, I have people that I look up to, lots of them. One is very, very known. If anybody that knows me would know that I am a groupie for a man called Demas Nwoko, who I think is pretty much very. I'm very similar to him, not in terms of his achievements, but in terms of his outlook, what he could do, right? His views, how he saw life, and how far he could go. So this is someone that built houses, played music, did performance, did printing, did photography, pretty much like Michelangelo. We call such persons universal men, right? So if it can be done, then we do it, right? I mean, when you hear statements like, did we study architecture before we start building houses? No, we were building houses before the study of architecture came into being. So you don't need to be an architect to build a house. I don't know if
Yeah.
that kind of brain juggling personality. So he's definitely one of them. I would also mention the late Okeke, who his work in chronicling the ancient Igbo Uli motif system and bringing it into contemporary art practice at the University of Nigeria and Soka is also someone that was very instrumental in my life's journey. I happen to have met him while he was alive a couple of times and shared my vision with him, and he encouraged me. So yeah, that as well. On the international scene, I like Banksy a lot. Banksy, his mysticism and the way he pops up and his style of work really intrigues me. Of course, we all like Basquiat, so yeah, I'll just stop at that.
All right. Your art basically, portrays the Igbo culture. Why? Why Igbo culture? Why not, something else? Or is there anything that, that like sort of draw you to, okay, I want to focus on my tribe, or I want to focus on kind of, represent these themes or something?
So I think the question should be why not, right? Yeah, the question should be why not why. It's because it is who I am, right?
Okay.
It is who I am. It is the language I speak. It is the ethnicity I identify with, right? In a very positive and equitable way. The Igbo nation or the Igbo phenomena is also very peculiar in Nigeria for obvious reasons of that what has happened around that name. I mean, there was a civil war in Nigeria. There's the phenomenon that anywhere you go in the world, you would see an Igbo man. So there's something, right, about this particular ethnicity, which is very similar to that you can find in similar ethnicities across the world. In some, like Chinese, they are very peculiar. I've forgotten the name they call them.
Mm.
So I think it's a rich culture. We've not even explored it. I mean, when I say we, I'm referring to all of us as black people now, Africans that were colonized, right? So we suffered the same fate. We all lost our culture. We're talking to each other in English, which is a positive, but there are also negatives to it, right? Yeah, so for me, it's just a vast, very vast, call it wealth of resource, right? Inspiration that is yet to be tapped into. And I see no reason why I should not tap into it. There's a lot that is there for us to, for me and for any person at all in the world to tap into. I'm just taking what is available to me. I mean, I'm very Afrocentric, and I don't just get inspired by Igbo stuff, but anything that is African, promotes Africa, because I'm very very focused on pushing an agenda from the point of identity. Right? We need to know who we are. We need to celebrate who we are. We need to respond to our environment based on what we have and our capacity. I believe that that is the only place we can build from. I think it's weird that a Nigerian will try to paint like a German, right? Or an Igbo man will try to paint like a Zulu person, and that becomes an inspiration. I mean, you can do that as a one-off, but largely, if you want to make a mark anywhere in the world, then you just need to be you, and the you is you, the language you speak, where you were born, and where you can identify with.
All right, you just spoke about how where you're from has inspired your art, but what else again basically inspires your art?
Everything, life, my experience, love, heartbreaks, hardship.
Okay. The heartbreak
Yeah,
part caught me.
yeah, heartbreak. I mean, you can see this. We all go through heartbreaks.
Oh,
Yeah,
why did it really have to be the picture next to you?
well, I think it's just coincidence that this is here. This was done in 2012. I mean, if you could come close and see it, there's a lot of detail in it. But again, I think heartbreak and the issues of heart is a universal
Okay, I hope you've not
matter
been
that
served
we all.
breakfast though.
If I've done what?
I hope you've not been served breakfast though.
No, I'm not. I'm not.
All right, so tell us how important like art design is important to society. I mean, most people just think that art is just something people just put on the wall and then you just move on. They do not really understand the importance of it. So if you can shed more light on it.
Okay, so we are we are speedily moving into a world where art is powering currency, right?
Mhm.
Where creativity is powering currency, where creativity is becoming the value for currency. Currently, we are using gold to back currencies, but we are going into a place where creative work is powering currencies. Let's pull back a bit. Why would you pay um, 10 million naira for a table at a go hotel to watch the video, play the same music, or mime the same music, or perform the same music that you've heard on radio, and you probably listen, you have it on your phone, and you downloaded it, and I mean, you know the songs word for word. Why would you
Yeah.
do that? It's a value, right? There's an emotional value. There's a spiritual appeal. There's an entertainment currency that comes with it, which is very, very, very important to human beings, right? And that is it is on that back that art thrives, right? Art has an intrinsic value, being the expression and creation of someone. And then when art is developed, right, when you move into um, other forms of where art are used in tech, in design, in engineering, in architecture, it's all art, right? It's all being rooted from the same place, right? You begin to see the value transform to living spaces, right? You begin to see that value transform to fashion. You begin to see that value transform to to technology, right? So I mean, people thought about the moon, wrote about the moon, visualized the moon before we travel to the moon. That is the value of art. Art takes us into a place where is ephemeral, and where it takes us to an ephemeral and a real place, and that is the value of art. So if you look at technologies that are being developed now, you would see that all of this is then coming together to become such a force that even the modern day currency or the currency of the future is going to be powered by art.
All right. Still going through your profile. I mean, I noticed something, and that's the fact that you said you won the national award for outstanding contribution to design services. Can you tell us about that one?
I was given the award. Some organization called People and Power called me and said, "We have followed your work. Come and take an award." And I went to take the award. That's it. I'm not. Um, I don't give myself accolades. Some of these things you just have to put it there so that we build up a profile. But I'm focused on the work. Right? I'm focused on the work. There's a lot that we need to do in this country. There's a lot that we need to create. We need to start thinking for ourselves by ourselves based on what we have and what we can do. And I believe the human capacity, the artists, the engineers, the designers, the techies are the ones that are positioned to lead us out of where we are as a nation and into where we want to go. So yeah, I'm focused on the work. Maybe in the course of doing that work, some persons have recognized it and decided to give me an award. So that's how that came to be.
All right. You recently also held, a solo exhibition in Lagos. How was it like? What was the experience like, and was it really receptive to people?
It was explosive. So um, I am a trained artist by profession and by university and postgraduate degree, um, formal trained artist and designer. I always like putting two of them together because it's what I do. I've practiced design for ever since I left school, and I've just done art as more or less a hobby, right? I do make some money from it, but sometime in January this year, precisely the 2nd of January, I was diagnosed of the inevitable COVID-19.
Okay. So sorry
I locked
about it.
myself out. And of course, and that was the period when all sorts of WhatsApp messages were flying and all sorts of instructions of what to do and what not to do, and all sorts of people dying. I mean, I lost two friends
Oh,
within the time. Yeah, to the same thing.
so sorry.
And yeah, it was a bit scary. Like, okay, so you're not quite sure. Maybe this is the part where you get to die or something. So it was in that period that a friend of mine in the US reached out and told me, "Hey, I need to do this job. Can you create a series of illustrations for a mobile app? Blah blah blah." And I started doing it. And in that period, I created those works. And by the time I was done, and of course, I survived. I'm talking to you, and I looked at the body of artwork that has been created, about 100 of them, and I told the client, please, I would like to exhibit this because I think it's a lot of work and I think it's meaningful work. One of them is behind me, yeah, that dog.
Okay.
And yeah, and that was how that exhibition happened. And from that point, I've had another solo exhibition, and I'm currently in a group exhibition. And then, of course, that took me into um, the NFT spaces because my work happened to be digital, and NFTs is all about digital work. And that took me to the NFT spaces, and then I got interested in it, learned about it, and started creating in that space as well.
All right.
And I've also now gone ahead to be part of the persons that founded the Nigeria NFT community, having realized that it's a bit very complex phenomenon for people to understand, even for an intelligent person. It's a bit complex. But what we've done is that we've used ourselves as the guinea pigs. We've made mistakes, we've tested, and then we're now trying to build a community where other creatives, other people that do stuff within this industry can then come on and then be easily introduced into the space because that is the future. That is actually the future that is here with us.
All right.
So
Since we're
yeah,
already talking about NFT now, can you tell us what it's about and if it can be used as a form of, investment or something? Just give us all the informations we need on that.
it is an investment. Cryptocurrency is an investment. Two things happened, right? So the emergence of a blockchain technology, right? and the ability to create tokens, right? And that's how NFTs came to be. And then what are NFTs? Big grammar. If you compare that to physical art, NFT is pretty much your proof of authenticity. So when you buy an artwork like this, for instance, in a gallery, the gallery gives you a certificate, right? That proves that this artwork is the original version. It is owned by you as well. So this is the day it was created. These are the details, and then they sign it, right? And then they give it to you, the collector. What has then happened in the digital space is that there has now been a way to create that same proof of authenticity, and that proof of authenticity it is what is referred to as the NFT token, a non-fungible token, right?
Okay.
Non-fungible meaning that it cannot be replaced. There is no second copy of it. The classical example everybody always uses is, um, say, currency, right? If I hold 1,000 naira and you hold 1,000 naira, they are both fungible. I can give you my 1,000 naira and you give me your own, and they have the same value, right? The
Yeah.
value does not change, right? But if you take an artwork, for instance, the original is original. The rest are copies of the original, right? So what NFT does is that it then certifies the original and then places it on that public ledger, which is the blockchain, for everybody to see. That gave instant value to digital work, right? And it then made digital art, for instance, which had been relegated to the background by traditional collectors and traditional art space, to then have relevance, because people could then trust that they are the owner of this, and people could trade it, right? And there was value exchange. So it became pretty much like stock trading, and yeah, it has caught on like wildfire. Now, the extension of it is that it also then has created an opportunity for creatives, to have access to something we now call generational wealth, right? Yeah,
Okay.
look at the possibility where people can actually be earning even when they are dead for their generations to come. Why? Because there is an endless royalty when it comes to selling your digital work. By the way, NFTs are not just art, right? Everything is becoming an NFT. Real estates are being tokenized. Um, Music is NFT. Fashion is NFT. Poetry, and all of that. Story Lane sold out in 1 million copies of his song in less than 1 minute or so, and made $2 million or so. That kind of, it's decentralized. It's also challenging existing structures of government and governance, because it's putting power in the hands of people, and that's the revolution that is going on. And all of this is then largely then being backed by art, music, poetry, digital content created by creative people, right? So it's a new wave of um, natives coming up, and I think any of us that is in it now is right there at the very beginning of a revolution. I mean, picture when the internet came several years ago, several decades ago. Some of us did not understand it. Yeah, okay, well, this digital, I don't know what these people are saying. But today, everything is digital, right? If you look at children, you're already buying digital assets for children in their games, right? That is their world. That is where we are going to, and and a lot of value is going to be in there, right? We do relationships on the digital space. We now hook up, we now link up, we now slide into DMs, and all of that. So we live in the digital space. We carry that device in our hands, and we spend a very good chunk of our time interacting digitally with each other. So it goes without saying that any form of trading or value exchange that is digital is going to be a rave. And yeah, we are
All
there.
right.
We are just starting.
All right. So, how do you think this is actually going to affect the economy? I mean, is what it is. You've spoken about how it will definitely benefit the artists, but how is it going to affect the economy?
It's pretty simple. Cool. Money money exchange, money transaction. It's good for the economy, right? I just think governments need to reconcile with the desire and need to control, because that's what the issue that governments have with this, and it cannot be controlled by anybody, right? Um, if I were a government, I would think twice about it, right? But again, you also need to listen to what is driving that technology. Is this something you can surmount? I don't think so. I think the government needs to engage in it, and then of course place its value where possible, and of course extract all its taxes. There's still in Nigeria. Our Nigeria, for instance, is the after USA and Russia is the third country in the world with the highest volume of crypto trading. Why are we turning our eyes away from it? Banning it has not reduced that statistic or changed it. Actually, it has even increased. Probably they have overtaken Russia now behind USA.
But we just
And
launched the e-naira yesterday now.
Okay, so I'm very much aware of that project.
Okay.
Yeah, and the e-naira is a blockchain, but it's a private blockchain, right? Again, this is just a case of trying to control. But you realize that this e-naira is a private blockchain, and private blockchains have their own disadvantages. Disadvantages in terms of somebody can actually manipulate that database.
I don't think it's private. I
And
think
that,
it's government owned. It's not a private blockchain.
it's a private blockchain. Trust me.
All right.
It's not. So when you say blockchain, it's not really about the ownership. Private
Okay.
is about the difference between private and public blockchain is that the public blockchain is open to anybody that has access to the internet. You can go to that ledger and see when this was created, who created it, who bought it, who sold it. It's all public. And because it is not also registered on one chain, one block, it's several blocks. That's why they call them blockchain.
Okay.
The information is constantly verified across different chains, right? I mean, it sounds a bit technical. I'm just trying to break it down as much as possible. But a private blockchain, you need some levels of access to be able to see what is on that ledger. And that is where the problem is. Because it cannot be seen in public, right? Somebody can go there and doctor it. Somebody can move monies or do stuff and doctor it. This is being powered by a company somewhere, right? Providing that server for you and everything. You are entirely just giving them your whole country's sensitive data, BVNs, and all of that. It's very dangerous. I think we need to slow down a bit before we just give away the entire country to some young chappies somewhere and they'll just wipe us out.
Well, there's still a lot to learn about the new. Yeah, there's still a lot to learn on this new e-naira, and then of course, I don't think that the government wants to sabotage us and put our lives in the hands of some young persons who want to just take our monies and they run away. All right, thank you so much, Chuma Anagbado. Thank you so much for joining me today. He's the managing director, managing partner, and also co-founder of Aziza Design. Thank you so much for joining me today on Lunchtime Discourse.
My pleasure.
All right, remember that you can equally like, share, and subscribe on all our social media platforms showing on your screen. You can go on our YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. You can like, subscribe as well, and you want to find out up-to-date stories, you can go on our website, www.vanguardngl.com, to find out more. Thank you for watching. I am Precious Chukudi. Bye.